Hi, everyone. David Aragona and Mike B are here taking a look at the feature race 2 days after Christmas when racing returns at Aqueduct in New York. Race 8 on an 11 race Saturday card is the Queens County. This one going 1 mile and 1/8 for the 3-year-old and older runners on the dirt course. And Mike, we only got a field of 6 for this one, but there's some quality in here and some horses that appear to be in very good form on the way into this race, including the horse that I pegged as the morning line favorite, the number 4 Full Screen.
Yeah, coming off a big win, Full Screen. Yeah, you're right, David. I mean, this is just an interesting race because the horses who feel like they're, maybe going to wind up being true sort of graded stakes horses down the line are sort of lightly raced still and haven't proven it yet. And then, some of the other shorter prices on the line are good horses, hard-hitting horses, but they're mostly, high-level allowance optional claiming types.
Both Brad Cox runners I have as the top 2 choices on the morning line, Full Screen as well as Kinetic. Both of them have good tactical speed. We'll take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector to see where these Cox runners might be placed in the early stages of this race. And Mike, I think they'll both be somewhere between second, third, and fourth early as they jockey for position behind the likely leader, Film Star. It seems like Film Star's best chance in his races these days is to go to the front, try to back down the pace a little bit. We'll see if he can sustain that speed this time. But I imagine they'll line themselves up something like this in behind him.
Yeah, I think Film Star's probably best chances to go to the front. He's very comfortable up there. Kinetic has a great post and has tactical speed, but they don't have to send this horse. I thought Classicist the 2 was maybe the key to the pace. He got a pretty aggressive ride last time and it worked out. I wonder if they'll do the same.
Yeah, he showed good gate speed last time. Not particularly fast pace, though, so I'll be interested to see how naturally fast he is, maybe against some tougher speed rivals this time. Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1 Kinetic, one of those 2 Brad Cox trainees. And Mike, this horse looked like he was on the path to graded stakes races early in his career. He just kept improving race after race, right on through that restricted stakes win at Oaklawn Park going back to January of this year. Ended things on a sour note prior to the layoff when he took a lot of money in the Grade 3 Essex, just didn't show up, needed some time after that. He's now coming back off the long layoff, but when you look at the stats for Brad Cox in the situation, he does great off these long layoffs, especially with his dirt routers. And if he's ready to go, he could be dangerous in this spot.
Definitely. Yeah, it's hard to find a bad Brad Cox stat, but this one that you were referencing there, long layoffs with dirt routers, it's an excellent stat. He has him ready. And when you go through this horse's work tab too, he's had him going for a while, but he's really gotten into starting beginning in November. Just about every 6 or 7 days, the source is on the tab. He should be fit for this. I just thought he's shaped with a lot of potential early, David. The first 2 wins, he was still super green in both of those wins, but he overcame it to win. He got better in his next 2 starts. I don't know what happened last time. Something happened. He never looked comfortable in that race, and he didn't fire, and I'm sure that's why there was a layoff. This horse, if he comes back ready to go, he's supposed to be tough in here.
Yeah, and I watched the video of a couple of those drills at Churchill Downs before we got shipped into New York, and the November 16th drill was a real wow drill. I mean, he was solo, but boy, he looked like he just had loads of energy in that morning workout, so it seems like he's training well for this return. The number 2 Classicist, he is the 3-year-old facing older horses in this race, and he's going to have to step it up from a speed figure standpoint. But, Mike, this horse has shown potential really from the start of his career when he was 3rd in that really tough maiden race behind Sovereignty during his 2-year-old season. He's obviously needed a lot of time between races since then, but he's won both starts since returning as a 3-year-old, including this last race that we'll take a look at when he won going this 1.125 distance against first level allowance competition. Now, he's stepping way up in class to face a tougher field than the one that he was beating on this day. And he does have to work pretty hard for this victory, Mike, but you can kind of see it in this replay. It seems to me like he's just playing around a little bit on the front end. He's drifting. It doesn't seem like his mind is totally focused on the task. And if they can ever figure that out and get him to run a more complete race, he might be able to compete at this level.
Yeah, I agree. And, maybe getting some more racing into him. He didn't need a couple months off between every start. Maybe he could get that experience that he needs, but that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I mean, his races, they're not great, but they're good. And you can see that there's something there with this horse. Like, they really sent this horse last time. You're right. The pace wasn't super fast, but you could tell that Carmouche right from the gate, he wanted this horse on the lead. He rode him hard to make sure he got there. And you saw the stretch battle there. Tuscan Gold had dead aim the entire way, but this horse was never going to let him get by. There's something there with this horse. Not sure this is the right spot. But then again, it's not like it came up super tough. This horse has a ton of upside.
Yeah, horses like this tend to take money. I think I did a lot better than the
Mm.
4-1 that I pegged him out in the morning line. We'll see what price he goes off at. The number 3 Bourbon Day, another horse coming in off a victory, going this 1.125 distance at Aqueduct. We'll take a look at the replay of his last race. And this was a pretty impressive victory, Mike. I mean, he was facing a better field than the one that we just saw in the replay for Classicist, and he absolutely smashed this group to win off by over 5 lengths in the end with a very fast final time. 147.3, which does translate into that career best 98 buyer. I guess Linda Rice has got this horse going good right now since he got switched into her barn. This is a horse that was primarily racing on turf for the majority of his career, but his dirt races are good. And if he's able to run back to this effort, he could be tough here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if he can back that performance up, because his prior dirt races were pretty good too. They were, mostly in off turf races where, maybe he was just finding the right kinds of fields and winning easily and getting, decent figures. But it felt like last time when he was meant for dirt, first time for Rice, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's gonna be able to run that well again here, but he, as you say, he smashed that field. He looked good doing it.
8-1 seemed pretty generous last time. He's probably going to be a much shorter price against a tougher field here. The number 4 Full Screen, another one coming off a career best, visually impressive performance, going the same 1.125 distance at Aqueduct. We'll take a look at the replay of his victory, which actually came on the day right before Bourbon Day won, but a similar time over that same distance. And Mike, this was a powerful performance. This horse never saved any ground. He just sat confidently out in the 3 path the whole way around both turns. And once Manny Franco asked him to go at the top of the stretch, he just slammed the door on this field. And the runner-up in this race, Ben Duke, he's a pretty nice, classy horse, and Full Screen just never gave him a chance. If he runs back to this effort, he's going to beat this field. You just wonder where it came from because he had never run this well before.
Yeah, exactly. And if you wanted to, I spent a long time looking at this horse too, because he was so good last time. And you're right to point out Ben Duke too, because if Ben Duke was in this race, he's a horse you'd take a long look at. He could win this race. So I don't know. That race that we just watched there sort of made me go back and start trying to figure out where it came from. And when you dig into him, David, he's been around for a long time, but he basically spent the first 2 years of his career on turf and synthetic. Mm-hmm. They finally switched him to dirt, and it felt like Mark Casse didn't really know what to do with him. They did a lot of sprinting with him, a lot of one-turn races. They didn't really know what distances to run him at. Brad Cox thinks he's a dirt router, and you know what? He might be right. He was awful good last time.
It's funny, these two horses, Full Screen and Bourbon Day, have very similar profiles given the trajectory of their careers, and they're both coming in great form right now. The number 5 Film Star, he was in that race that Full Screen won, and he was the horse that was vying for the lead at the top of the stretch, but he had nothing left for the final quarter mile and faded badly to finish last of 5 in there. Mike, this is going to be the longest shot in the race. I will make a bit of a pitch for him, though, because the barn that he's coming out of, Rob Atras, just has not been putting up the numbers that he once did in New York. And especially if you look at his stats over the last year at NYRA, they're pretty disappointing, kind of surprisingly so. And he's getting claimed by a barn, Gustavo Rodriguez, who just has great stats first off the claim, especially with dirt routers. We see him pick up some horses off the claim, like Phileas Fogg, who stepped up into graded stakes company and did well. Now, I don't know if Film Star can have as much success as that prior claim did, but this horse does have back races that give him a chance in here, and I like that he's getting into such a sharp barn.
Yeah, I like that too. I like his running style for this race too, because he's going to be right up close in here, I think. And the 9 furlongs is really no issue for this horse. So there are things to like. It's all a question of whether anybody can get this horse back into the form that Linda Rice had him in, because he just ran one good race after another for Linda, and it didn't matter what track she ran him at. He handled all different kinds of tracks, and he handled the distance. But his 2 races since he left that barn, they have not been good.
The number 6 Cooke Creek rounds out the field, and I guess he could be another potential pace player in this race. He did go to the lead when he won in gate-to-wire fashion at Delaware too. Back was actually a decent field for a non-graded stakes race, but he came back in the Clark last time, and that was a tougher spot than this one, Mike, but he really was just never in the mix. I mean, they tried to ride him for speed early. He got outrun to the front end by Chunk of Gold, was just basically under pressure every step of the way and went backwards in the second half of the race to ultimately finish last. He's getting some class relief here. I just wonder what kind of trip he's going to work out, because it feels like there might be some naturally faster horses inside of him.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too. I guess we'll see. Maybe Pratt will just send him here and try to make the front. And if he gets there, I guess he could be dangerous. I just don't like his form that much. They claimed this horse for 40 early last year. He ran some good races kind of right away for Maker, but since then, I just don't like his form. Even the win 2 back just didn't do a lot for me.
Let's go to our picks for this Queen's County. We want to hear from you. Let us know who you like in this race and whether or not you agree with either horses that Mike or I put on top. Mike, you're going to go with one of those Brad Cox runners, the number 1 Kinetic. He's coming back in the stakes race off the long layoff, but as we said, Brad Cox does well with these. And feels like we might not have yet seen the best of this horse.
That's why I took him on top here. I actually have the Brad Cox horses 1-2. You know, the other one that he just took over the full screen, who was so good last time. I won't be surprised, I guess, if he backs that up, but I kind of want to make him do it as one of the favorites in here. I like Kinetic. I've liked him from the start. I like the way he's coming back into this. I think this is the right spot to run him into if he's close to ready. I'll take him.
I've got him in there. Actually, I've got both Brad Cox runners in there. I put an all or nothing type on top of the number 5 Film Star. If he can get back into form, I think he's got a chance to wire this field, and I'll find out at what should be the biggest price of the 6 in here. 5-1-4-6 for me and 1-4-5-2 for Mike in this stakes race on Saturday at Aqueduct. Everyone, happy holidays and good luck if you're playing the races this weekend after Christmas.